Welcome back to the DNA Pest Control Podcast. This is Aaron.
And Daniel.
Oh, you think they got it? Think they got the mix up?
Not yet.
No. They don't
if
know
they're paying
places?
attention, they did.
Okay, good. No, well, we just gave it away anyway, so. Okay, so guys, we've hit on this pretty hard, actually. Last year, coming to a close in the 2023 podcast season, we did hit on what we were changing here and the culture here. And it's actually really interesting because it's not just us talking about it. We had PCT talking about it. They came out with a whole entire article about culture. Luckily for us, we can say PCT copied us because we came out with our episodes first.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. You're welcome for the idea. No. All joking aside. But culture is a big thing. And running through kind of what we've been through and actually some of the articles and seeing what other people have done with their culture, I have a pretty strong input from my personal experience about it and what culture is and what it can do and how it can help. What do you think on your side before I throw my opinion? Because I can get pretty heated about it.
Yeah, real quickly, I think it is crucial part of either the growth or the downfall of any business when you're dealing with revolving doors of technicians, office staff, multiple pieces. There has to be a set culture in which everybody holds themselves to I don't want to say bare minimum standard, but there has to be a standard.
Yes.
There has to be a line somewhere.
Yeah.
And if there is none, you got to make that line, or else it's going to get crazy.
Yeah. And you're absolutely right. And some of my mistakes where people now are getting into a business and they're starting the pest control business and they're breaking off of companies that may or may not even have a culture, or they've tried to create a culture and they don't have it. It is something that is very crucial, and you got to stick by what you believe. And I'm going to tell you right now is I did not really understand it and connect all the dots until I saw this video of a guy talking about culture. And I said this on one of the past podcasts that we did, and it just hit me really, really hard. Mm-hmm. And I started reflecting a lot on really the past years of, taking over the business and everything and what was created. And what I created was actually bad. It wasn't good. Mm-hmm. The intentions were good. I was trying to do good, but what was created was a monster.
Yeah.
And it really created a lot of bad things. And for a lot of people who took it in the wrong way and ran a different direction than it was supposed to.
Agreed.
And what this guy ended up saying is he brought it up as a lot of culture, a lot of businesses create the culture of we're family. And he said, bullshit. You're not family. You don't pay them like family, which is typically really cheap, cheap labor, almost free labor. And you don't discipline them like family, and you don't reward them like family. You don't do anything like family, right? You do not treat anybody in the business like family. That's bullshit. Mm-hmm. We're going to call that out right now. You want to try to create the family environment. We're all here to help. No, you're not. Mm-hmm. No, you're not. You're not showing up to their kid's birthday party. It's not happening, right? Yeah. So it's BS. It's not true.
Yeah.
And what he said is in their company, what they do is we are an NFL team. We are a professional sports team. Mm-hmm. You're not family. We're professionals.
Yeah.
We would like you to be here. But if you're not going to pull your weight and you're not going to succeed, we're going to find someone to replace you. Mm-hmm. And you're always probably going to be looked at as being replaced if you're not keeping up with the company standard.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so he really hit it on a good point he said, and it's really amazing to see that people are happier and they're more successful and the benefits are better and the pay's better because we're pros. Mm-hmm. We're professionals. When you're family, it's not that way. You're not expected to be the best because you're not ever going to be replaced. Mm-hmm. Your family, you have to be in. You're in. You got the in. And actually my approach, even with family, it's funny because I should treat guys more like family because I'm a dick. You know, I mean, I come home and if my wife is doing something with the business, my mother-in-law, I remember they were helping out inputting a ton of customers just after a acquisition, and they were screwing up and I reamed them. I mean, I was screaming. I was pissed because they had to go back and they had to fix all this stuff. And they're like, we're family. You're supposed to be nice to us. I'm like, no, you're supposed to do a better job because you are family.
Yeah.
I mean, I was heated. But going back to it is most people treat them like, you know, they're stepping on eggshells. We're being nice and that, you know, this and that. So if I actually treated them like family, I'd be a dick. I'd be riding them like what the hell are you doing? Like, this is insane.
Yeah.
You know, but I liked it where they took that culture out and said, we're pros. We're professionals here. And if you're not going to be on the professional level as us, we're going to find someone who's going to be on a professional level. And that's how we're going to handle it. You're going to be compensated as such, and it's going to be awesome. Right. But you have to pull your weight and you have to, you know, be at the top of your level or somebody else will come in and will take that from you, you know? And so culture is huge in that aspect. And where I screwed up was that. As we brought it in as a family setting, you got to be nice. You're taking care of guys. You're doing all these things. And there's a time and place for that. But understand you're going to get burnt and burnt and burnt and burnt and burnt. No one cares. Doesn't matter how much family culture you want to put on it. Treat everyone like family. Don't do that. Don't even put that in there. That was one of the articles I read. Treat everyone like family.
Yeah.
Really? You're going to walk into the house. You're not going to take your shoes off. You're just going to be walking around everywhere. Grab a, you know, cup out of the, you know, the cabinet, fill it up with whatever's in the refrigerator. You're not treating them like family.
Yeah.
You're not treating any of your customers like family. You're not treating anybody like family.
Yeah.
This is game day. You train for an entire week to show up to this. You better play your best, put in your best effort, respect everyone, put on a show. Yeah. That's what you're supposed to do.
I agree.
And that's how it's supposed to happen. But that's how it wasn't in the beginning. So anyone out there creating that culture, you think you're going to try to create that family culture. No one's family. No one cares. And I'm breaking a lot of hearts right now. And some are going to be like, no, what I have is family. My team's family. No, they're not. They're going to quit tomorrow. And then where's that family, right?
Your team is exactly what you said. It's a team.
It's a team. That's it.
It's a team.
And players are going to come and go.
Yeah.
The same team that played on any sports team 30 years ago is a whole new team today. They're not even the same players. There's nobody that's even the same on that team. Very rare.
Yeah.
On a sports team 30 years later. It's a whole different group of guys. Coach may stay the same.
Yeah.
Right? Your assistant coach may be the same. Your upper management, ownership, any CEO or any officer of the company is probably going to be the same.
Yeah.
The players are going to change consistently. And remember that. It's not a family. It's a team and treat it as such.
Yeah.
What's your opinion?
I think there's a lot of truth to that. I think that people have, like you said, people have great intentions with that.
Yeah.
And bringing together and having that collective feeling of growth and prosperity together, and we're all going to live successful lives and hit green lights everywhere. And like, I understand the intent behind it, but you don't really get anywhere substantial with that because it allows for so many natural roadblocks that you just set up for yourself when it comes to discipline, when it comes to training, when it comes to expectations or job performance or growth expectations in oneself, right?
Yeah.
We talked about it on the episode a couple weeks ago. Cutting feelings out has been some of the best aspects of what we're doing today and why we've absolutely skyrocketed. And yes, we do crack down, but that doesn't mean we're just assholes 24/7 when we wake up. We're not looking to spite people or make them feel like shit. That's not it at all. I actually think I praise people too much.
Yeah.
But I've still taken feelings out of it.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that, it's of focusing on rewarding good behavior and disciplining when it's needed.
Yeah.
And moving on and just setting very clear expectations and tying back to what do I think is important about the culture? It's exactly that. It's everybody knows exactly what we expect.
Yeah.
There's no questions. Mm-hmm. There's no, oh, but I've known Aaron for so long, or, me and Daniel do this outside of work. And even you and I, we're doing a podcast right now outside of work.
Yeah.
On Monday, when we're back in the office and you get a call from something I screwed up on, or I get a call because you didn't send out a notice, we're calling each other immediately. Like, what the hell's going on, dude?
Yeah.
And that's how it should be.
Yeah.
Because we demand excellence out of ourselves and out of each other.
Yep. Yeah. And you're right. And you've hit it, really well, is that's exactly how it should be. And I guess you could have a culture within a culture.
Can you elaborate on that?
Well, what I mean, because I was thinking about what you were saying, and you really do start to see it. And I was thinking, you know what, there are players in the game that are going to be longevity, right? They're going to stay for a long time.
Sure.
That's going to happen.
They're going to have to earn that.
They're going to have to earn that, but it happens, right? Just like your coaches. Your coaches don't typically cycle out of a team very quickly unless you're on the 49ers. Okay.
Yeah.
Then they get rid of those guys quick.
Yeah.
But most sports teams, they're on for decades at a time. Even colleges, that's typically the same thing, is you get the most important players in, and that culture between the uppers are going to be different than the culture down below. Mm-hmm. And how you do things is, you're going to take some feelings out of it as you deal with the team, right? There's direct consequences for not doing these things. There's fines, there's rules, there's expectations. There's so much there. Mm-hmm. And then as you start to get up into, upper management and more important roles, those rules and expectations start to become a way of life. Mm-hmm. It steps away from, hey, you get fined. It's your ass is fired now. Mm-hmm. You have to, succeed at this level.
Yeah.
There's not a question of if or when. Mm-hmm. It's you have to. You have to make changes. You have to be wrong. You have to be right. There's going to be those consequences there. Mm-hmm. And so that's what I mean is culture within a culture is you could even create that where it's, hey, we are upper management, and you could keep it as a family now, right? You can keep that and look at that as a family setting where it's, hey, because you're not going to deliberately screw over a family member. I would hope not.
Yeah.
Some people would.
Some people.
But within an officer setting, that could be that.
Sure.
And then within a team setting, it's a whole nother set of, rules and culture setting. Now you may want to keep it all the same within, but now thinking about it, you could have a culture within a culture.
No, I see what you're saying, right? So you have your inner circle. Mm-hmm. People are like, no one's included in the inner circle. That's just the way it is, okay? You have people making the decisions, enforcing the rules.
Yeah.
That's how it is.
Yeah.
You have the inner circle. So you have 4 chairs in there, people collaborating, making the rules, enforcing the rules.
Yep.
Even though there is not a 5th chair, somebody can bring their own chair in, but they have to earn that.
Yes.
And now there's 5 chairs.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, it comes with growth.
Exactly.
It comes with growth, comes with change. You start to create that, and the people who do get into that inner circle are going to be looked at and judged very heavily and kicked out very quickly.
Yeah.
And that's how it should be. Just the same as a team, that comes in, and there's team rules, just like any sports team. You can't own that same sports team or be a part of it or affiliated with it if you're a player.
Yeah.
You just can't. But now if you're retired, you can. Mm-hmm. And you're going to bring a lot of experience and probably good things and good insight. But during that time is you're not allowed. Mm-hmm. It's not what it is. But as you start to move up and you start to grow into those, then you can. Okay. But yeah, culture is a fun one and always an interesting topic because culture can change in so many ways, and it works in so many different places in different ways. Mm-hmm. There's not really one to another. There's actually a book I'm reading or listening to, and he talked about his culture, and he lost a guy who was actually a big company, tech company. And they lost a guy to another company, and the company's culture was, well, everyone can do anything, right? They can make their own decisions and freedom and blah, blah, blah. And this guy's like, yeah, I can't do this. I'm out of here. Mm-hmm. And when he went back to go work at this place, they asked him like, well, why did you come back? You had a great opportunity over there. You know, and they left on good terms. It wasn't anything bad. But he said, if anyone can make their own decisions and I can make my own decisions, that means that can affect me. And if everyone can affect me, then I'm not going to succeed. Mm-hmm. He's like, and I can't be at that place if that's how they run it. Mm-hmm. He said, so I had to get out. I couldn't stay there. It didn't make sense. He said it was bad. It was all bad. It was leading to disaster, right? And maybe it did, maybe it didn't. They didn't specify what company it was, and it could have failed and it could have went, bad. But what they essentially brought in was they set the rules that, you're over your specific tasks and what you need to do, and nobody else is over that.
Yeah.
No one else is putting in their input other than if it's your boss, then they can, right? Mm-hmm. But there was specific rules and standards set, and the culture was there. So he understood, hey, I'm really the leader of my success, and I can create it or I can destroy it.
Yeah.
And the person above them is just kind of monitoring and helping him grow to become the best of his potential.
Sure.
And that was kind of the culture that they created. But that's the importance there, is what type of culture are you creating? My family culture in the beginning was setting up really, surprisingly, we succeeded, but it was really setting up for failure long term. It was never going to work. Mm-hmm. Too many people were allowed to make their own decisions and put their fingers in things that they were not supposed to. Yeah. They weren't supposed to touch certain stuff, and they would, and it was okay because it was family.
Yeah.
Right. And It's like, no. And as we started to change those things, we're now starting to see actually people are happier because the rules are set and the standards are set, and there's no deviating from that.
Yeah, it takes the uncertainty out of it.
Yeah, or the phone call we had today with a guy who went out on his own time to go out and sell, and he signed somebody up on his own time on the weekend that he didn't have to do, and he went and did it. And he knows that the benefit is there for doing that, and he knows the consequences if he does do it and it doesn't work out.
Yeah.
Like he knew, all around that. But it was there. And so it's really interesting to see that, but you get to see that when you start to create those rules, people are happier, where you would think in the opposite, it's, hey, you can be your own person.
Yeah.
Oh no, that never works out.
Yeah.
It was a disaster, and it went bad so many times.
Yeah. I at least saw the tail end of one of the more recent ones when I first got here, so it was really good for me to see that and actually see the difference and changes and what has worked and what hasn't worked. And, I feel really good about at least where we're sitting at now. And, hope for those of you guys that are listening, do you know what your culture is? Do your guys know what your culture is? If you don't know, then obviously your guys don't.
I bet most pest control companies don't have a culture. I bet most of them don't even know.
Yeah.
They work for a big company. Mm-hmm. They don't have a culture there. There's no way. You're in your vehicle, you go do your services, you get done, you just got to complete your jobs, and it's over with.
Yeah.
What culture could they even input?
And I'm not talking about like the company mission statement when you first sign the documents and it's like, oh, with this pest control company for the last 80 years, we've been providing outstanding customer service. It's like, yeah, I would hope so after 80 years. You know what I mean? Let's get more specific. Where are the lines drawn? What do I have to do to advance? What are my job requirements? Any questions?
So I guess that would be a good one then. So then what is culture? Because then people are going to say, well, yeah, my culture is, I work at a big company and this is what I have to do. And that's the culture.
I think culture is, so outside of your actual day-to-day job description, it's how you carry yourself within the company. If you're dealing with customers, how you interact with them, and understanding just the fundamental principles of where we're at and where we're going.
Standards.
There you go. Thank you for summing that up. Standards.
Yeah. No, but that's exactly what it is. You went really in depth and good, because that's what standards are. Mm-hmm. What are the standard practices and what's the standards that you expect out of everybody? That's the culture.
Yeah.
If your standard practices are mediocrity, which most are, very little importance to taking care of the customer or doing a great job, the spray and pray method. That's what your culture is. Do you deal with that? And it's actually been awesome what we've been doing, because we even got a compliment. I did just 2 days ago from a lady we went out and did, and we actually had very little interaction with her. I actually didn't think it was a very good experience at all, to be honest with you. I thought it actually was very poor. Well, come to find out, she's praising us.
Yeah.
She's talked to other management, other managers over apartment complexes, and have referred them to us because she had such a good experience.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, I didn't think you had a good experience.
Yeah, right.
I thought it was very mediocre, because she got mad at us at one point. We were doing some follow-ups, and, we went out there on our own goodwill to go do the follow-up for units, but she never knew about it, and she got pissed off, And so I thought it was actually a very negative experience, but I guess apparently she was absolutely thrilled, and how tight of a ship we run over here and everything like that. And it just goes to show, when you have the proper culture, what can come of it.
Yes. I think people underestimate when you're onboarding somebody. I think about that a lot now when we bring people on. Even aside from personality, aside from skills, because I know people might think those might tie into it, but do you see this person as a whole fitting in with the culture?
Yes.
Yes or no? And it's been very easy for us to shave off 90% of the applicants just based on that.
Yeah, honestly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and we even do it from the very beginning, from where you're just an applicant showing up for an interview.
Yeah.
You show up a minute late, sorry, interview's over.
Go home.
Go home. We're not even doing an interview with you. I don't care what your excuse is. If you can't show up on time for an interview, what makes you think you can show up on time at work?
Yeah.
See ya. So it's that simple and that strict as a culture. What are you doing from the very, very beginning? How strict are you on that? And what are you doing? And then even when a problem does arise, are you correcting it in the moment, or are you allowing it to, kind of prolong before you correct it? Because if you wait to correct those things, then it's like, well, I've already been doing it for 6 months. I don't want to work here now. Now you're saying I'm doing everything wrong?
Yeah.
I thought I was doing everything right. And then you start to create that culture. And that was the whole family culture I created.
Yeah.
It was guys were doing stupid stuff. I would just go behind them and correct it, and I'd never talk to them. Because I wanted to treat them nicely. I wanted to be fair. I wanted to be, a good person to them, which I thought was good. But in the end, it was like, I hate this guy because he sucks and he screws up every day.
Yeah.
But you never corrected any of that. The training was never there, things like that. And it's like, you have to have that culture and that base and those standards, which then create that culture. And then now you start to create everything good and positive and up and up and up and up.
Yes.
But it all starts exactly with that culture. And it's hard.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Yeah. Well, and it's even harder when it's so small.
Yes. And if you're in an unfamiliar situation, it's easy to deviate from the culture under pressure if you're weak-willed.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, 100%. And and that's where training comes into, so when you're training, are you training culture? Is your whole training regimen about the culture?
Yeah.
Without them knowing, you don't have to hit on culture, but are you training in a way that coincides with what your culture looks like?
Yeah. That's such a good point. I have been doing that with a lot of the new hires and not even saying it, but
yeah,
that's a really good point.
Yeah. Well, we do that with office staff change. They come in and they see something completely different. It's a whole different standard, and you see the difference of what it created because of it.
It's been awesome.
Absolutely. Now I should compliment more and I should praise more. I'm the opposite of you, but it's awesome to see that, what it does create when you have the proper culture, but also when you have people who are behind that culture too. Because you can't just have a culture and you be the only one pushing for it. That's what I had.
Yeah.
That was another really hard thing, is I was going this direction, and even the people that were closest to me were going in the opposite direction. They wanted nothing to do with how I was doing it. They wanted nothing to do with the direction we were going.
Yeah.
They were all terrified of that direction and going up and growth and bringing on more people. And then as that baggage started falling off, it was the weight was lifted, right? We're a hot air balloon. As we started dropping those sandbags, we started going up and 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 up.
Yeah.
And it was just like, dude, sky's the limit. We can keep going. Now that we're dropping all the weight off, but it's amazing that when you get those people, as you even just get one person who's like, yes, we're going there. Mm-hmm. And the same conversation they have with me, they're having with you or with somebody else or in the office or whatever it is, and they're having that same answer come back to them. Then they start to jump on that as well. And then we start to skyrocket even faster.
Yes.
So it's amazing how much culture can come into the picture and create either a very good experience or a very bad one.
Agreed.
Yeah. So I guess what is a main thing that you would say or a tip for someone for culture building?
You need to be very clear on what you want, because I think there's a lot of different companies that offer different things. Our culture is not going to be the same as yours. It might be, but I think you need to get specific, and it needs to happen. It needs to happen now. And when you're bringing on new people, I enjoy some of the high pressure situations that some of me and the new hires run into.
Yeah.
Go to an apartment complex and, everything's going wrong. Units weren't prepped. Management didn't know. Everything's wrong. We don't have our backpack sprayer. And it's like, I'm looking at them. I'm like, hey, like Eminem, it's like success is my only mother effing option.
Yeah.
Failure's not. Like, we are going to get this done.
Yep.
That is it.
Yeah.
So if you're looking at creating it, be clear about what you want, and then being intentional when you're enforcing it too.
Yes. Yeah. So in coming to a close on this episode this is a perfect time to focus on it. Mm-hmm. A lot of the times if you're just starting out, winter's kind of the slower season. So build that now, create that now as you start to get into where it's warming up. If you do not have that culture set, you don't have those standards set, you don't have the, practices and procedures set, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
You got to set that now, but you're right. What is your culture in those situations? What are you expecting in those situations? And really building it now, start it now. And there's no better time. It's all over the internet. Everything is now beginning of the new year, set it, but it's so important. And don't set it as this will never change. Set it with the expectation in mind that this is going to adapt. We are going to keep growing, and it's going to change as we grow. Mm-hmm. But as long as it's there, you can do those little tweaks as time comes.
It's perfect.
Oh, yeah. No, I think it is.
Yeah. But please, I hope you guys are doing well with your culture. Do you not have one? Please implement it. If you have questions on some of the mistakes and triumphs that we went through, we'd love to share them with you privately, or we can go over the Q&A. But thank you again for listening to the DNA Pest Control Podcast.